When we speak of death during sleep, we are touching upon one of the most profound mysteries of human existence. Edgar, the renowned mystic and healer, spent decades exploring the threshold between life and what lies beyond. Through his deep meditative states, he witnessed something remarkable. The death that comes during sleep is not an end, but a vibrational shift, a transition so gentle that the soul barely notices the moment of separation. Understanding this passage requires us to reconsider everything we think we know about death itself. In our waking consciousness, we fear the unknown. We cling to the physical, to the tangible reality of breath and heartbeat. Yet Edgar's insights reveal that this fear is born from ignorance of our true nature. We are not merely bodies that possess souls. We are souls temporarily inhabiting physical forms. The vibrational frequency of peaceful death operates on principles that transcend our ordinary perception. When the body enters deep sleep, something extraordinary happens. The soul loosens its grip on the physical vessel. This is why we sometimes feel ourselves floating, or experience that sudden jolt that pulls us back into our bodies just as we're drifting off. These are not random sensations. They are evidence of the soul's natural tendency to expand beyond physical boundaries. Edgar described this transition as occurring in layers. The first layer is the physical release, when the body's systems slow to their final rest. But this is merely the outermost shell of the experience. Beneath this lies the energetic separation, where the life force that animates our cells begins to withdraw. This withdrawal doesn't happen violently or suddenly in peaceful death. Instead, it follows the same rhythm as falling into deep sleep, gradual, natural, and fundamentally gentle. The soul, in these moments, experiences what can only be described as a homecoming. Imagine you've been wearing a heavy coat on a warm day, and you finally remove it. That sense of relief, of lightness, of being able to breathe freely again. This approximates what the soul experiences as it releases from the body during peaceful transition. There is no struggle because the vibration of sleep has already prepared the consciousness for this separation. This is why spiritual traditions across cultures have long recognized the importance of dying consciously, or at minimum, dying peacefully. The state of our consciousness at the moment of death influences the quality of our transition. When death comes during sleep, the consciousness is already in a receptive, relaxed state. The barriers between the physical and spiritual dimensions are naturally thin during sleep. We are already halfway across the bridge. Edgar observed that souls departing in this manner often don't immediately recognize they have died. They may continue in what feels like an extended dream state, moving through familiar environments, perhaps even believing they will wake up in their beds. This is not confusion. It is grace. The universe provides this gentle buffer, allowing the newly departed soul to adjust gradually to its new state of being. The frequency of peace that Edgar spoke of is not metaphorical. It is a measurable vibrational state, though our current scientific instruments cannot yet detect it. This frequency resonates at a level that synchronizes with the soul's natural vibration. When body and soul are aligned in this frequency, separation becomes effortless. The soul simply rises, like a bubble ascending through water, following the natural law of its own lightness. Consider how we prepare for sleep each night. We dim the lights, quiet our environment, slow our thoughts. We are, in essence, raising our vibration to match the frequency of the dream state. Peaceful death follows this same pattern, but instead of entering the dream dimension, the soul enters what Edgar called the light that seems like a dream, a realm so subtle, so refined in its vibration, that it exists just beyond our physical senses. This light is the true awakening. What we call waking life is, from the soul's perspective, a kind of deep sleep. We are so identified with our physical bodies and material concerns that we have forgotten our spiritual nature. Death during sleep becomes the moment of remembering, not a forgetting, as we fear, but a profound recognition of what we have always been. The transition is guided by what Edgar termed frequencies of peace. These are not imposed from outside, but emerge from within the soul itself. Every moment of peace you have cultivated in life, every instance of choosing love over fear, compassion over judgment, forgiveness over resentment, these create vibrational patterns in your soul. At the moment of death, these patterns activate, creating a frequency pathway that the soul naturally follows. This is the deep spiritual teaching hidden within peaceful death. We are preparing for it every single day of our lives. Each choice we make either raises or lowers our baseline vibration. Each thought we think, each emotion we feel, each action we take, all of these contribute to the vibrational signature that will guide our ultimate transition. Understanding this, we begin to see death not as an enemy to be feared, but as a teacher showing us how to live. If we wish to die peacefully, we must learn to live peacefully. If we wish our final transition to be smooth and gentle, we must practice smoothness and gentleness now, in our daily interactions, in our relationship with ourselves, in how we meet each moment. The silent crossing Edgar witnessed is available to all of us. It is our birthright as spiritual beings, but it requires us to align ourselves with frequencies of peace while we still have breath in our bodies. This is not about perfection, it is about direction. Are we moving toward peace or away from it? Are we raising our vibration or lowering it? These are the questions that matter. There exists a phenomenon that transcends all physical understanding, a sound that cannot be recorded, measured, or heard by human ears, yet it is more real than any symphony ever composed. Edgar spoke of this sound with reverence, describing it as the universe's way of calling its children home. This is not merely poetic language. It is a description of an actual vibrational experience that occurs at the threshold of transition. To understand this sound, we must first recognize that everything in existence vibrates. Your body vibrates. Your thoughts vibrate. Your emotions create waves of energy that ripple through the fabric of reality. Science has confirmed this through quantum physics, though mystics have known it for millennia. At the subatomic level, particles are not solid objects, but patterns of vibration, frequencies dancing in the void. You are, quite literally, a symphony of vibrations held together by consciousness. When Edgar entered his deep trance states, he could perceive these vibrations in ways that ordinary consciousness cannot. He described witnessing the moment of peaceful death as a profound shift in the soul's vibrational frequency. As the physical body releases its hold, the soul begins to resonate at a higher rate. This acceleration of vibration produces what he called the sound that only the soul hears. A tone so pure, so perfectly calibrated to that individual soul's essence, that it acts as a homing beacon. This sound is not random. It is the fundamental frequency of your soul, the note you have been singing since before you took physical form. Throughout your life, the density of physical existence mutes this sound. The noise of the world, the chaos of emotion, the static of unexamined thoughts, all of these create interference patterns that prevent you from hearing your own essential tone. But in the moment of peaceful death, when the body falls silent and the mind releases its grip, this interference falls away. What remains is pure resonance. Imagine tuning a radio and suddenly finding the exact frequency where the signal comes through crystal clear, where static disappears and only clarity remains. This is what happens to consciousness at the moment of transition. The soul, freed from physical distortion, suddenly hears itself with perfect clarity. And in that hearing, it recognizes the source from which it came. Edgar explained that this sound contains within it everything the soul needs to know for its journey home. It is simultaneously a comfort, a guide, and a memory. Those who have had near-death experiences sometimes report hearing music of indescribable beauty, or a tone that seemed to contain all love, all peace, all knowing. They are describing this same phenomenon, the soul's recognition of its own fundamental frequency. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, does not leave souls to wander lost after death. Just as a mother's voice can cut through a crowded room to reach her child's ears, the source calls to each soul in its own unique language. This is why Edgar insisted that peaceful death is not merely the absence of suffering. It is an active process of energetic reunion. The soul does not simply cease. It responds to a call that has been sounding since the moment of its creation. Understanding this changes how we approach the end of life. If death is truly a homecoming, guided by vibrational resonance, then preparing for death becomes a matter of tuning ourselves to this frequency while we still live. This is the hidden purpose of spiritual practice. Not to escape death, but to align ourselves with the sound that will guide us through it. Meditation, prayer, contemplation. These practices quiet the noise of the physical world and allow us to hear faint echoes of our soul's true tone. Have you ever experienced a moment of such profound peace that you felt you could hear silence itself? That is your soul's frequency beginning to emerge through the static of ordinary consciousness. The more you cultivate these moments, the stronger this inner resonance becomes. Edgar observed that souls who lived in harmony with their essential nature, who followed their deepest calling, who expressed their authentic self, who chose love over fear, these souls heard the sound most clearly at the moment of transition. Their lives had been a gradual tuning process, bringing their daily vibration into closer and closer alignment with their soul's fundamental frequency. When death came, it was not a jarring dissonance, but a natural resolution, like a musical phrase finding its way home to the tonic note. Conversely, souls who lived in constant conflict with their nature, who suppressed their truth, who armored themselves against feeling, these souls experienced greater difficulty in the transition. Not because they were being punished, but because the interference patterns they had created throughout life persisted beyond the body's death. The sound was calling just as clearly, but they had trained themselves not to hear it. This is not about moral judgment, it is about vibrational physics. Just as a guitar string that has been tightened or loosened will produce a different pitch, a soul that has been shaped by fear, anger, or disconnection will vibrate differently than one shaped by love, peace, and authenticity. The universe calls to all souls equally, but our ability to hear and respond depends on the vibrational state we have cultivated. The profound spiritual teaching here is that we are creating our death experience with every breath we take in life. Each moment of genuine presence, each act of kindness, each instance of choosing authenticity over pretense. These attune us to the frequency of our soul. We are not preparing for some distant event. We are participating in an ongoing relationship with our deepest self. When death arrives peacefully, the sound that guides the soul is not external. It arises from within, yet it connects to something infinitely larger. It is simultaneously the most personal and most universal experience imaginable. Your soul's unique tone is also part of the great cosmic symphony, harmonizing with all that is. In hearing your own frequency, you hear the music of creation itself. This is why Edgar described peaceful death as the universe singing the soul back to its source. It is not a one-way journey into darkness, but a response to an invitation that has always been there, waiting for the moment when we are finally quiet enough to hear it. In the space between heartbeats, in the silence between thoughts, there exists a threshold that every soul must eventually cross. Edgar described this moment with profound clarity, the instant when the body takes its final breath and releases the spirit into a frequency so pure that it can only be called light. This is not the light we see with physical eyes, but the essence of consciousness itself, freed from all material constraint. What happens in this sacred moment reveals the fundamental truth of existence. We are energetic beings, and the quality of our energy determines the nature of our transition. Edgar witnessed countless souls ascending at the moment of peaceful death, and he observed a universal principle. Those who lived in harmony rose effortlessly, drawn upward by the very vibration they had cultivated throughout their lives. This is the law of vibrational attraction operating at its most fundamental level. Understanding this law transforms everything. In physics, we know that like frequencies resonate together. A tuning fork struck at a certain pitch will cause another tuning fork of the same frequency to vibrate in sympathy, even across distance. The universe operates on this same principle at every level, including the spiritual. The vibration you maintain throughout your life becomes a magnetic force at the moment of death, attracting you to dimensions that match your frequency. Edgar saw that peaceful death releases the soul as a wave of light, ascending naturally toward realms of similar vibration. This is not reward or punishment. It is simply energy following its natural course. A balloon filled with helium rises not because it is morally superior to a stone, but because its nature is to rise. Similarly, a soul that has cultivated frequencies of love, peace, compassion, and awareness naturally ascends because these frequencies are less dense than those of fear, anger, resentment, and ignorance. This is why the work of spiritual development is not about earning heaven or avoiding hell. These are crude metaphors for what is actually a precise energetic process. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every choice you make either raises or lowers your vibrational frequency. You are constantly tuning yourself, adjusting your resonance, determining which realm of existence will feel like home to your consciousness when the physical body can no longer contain it. The moment of final breath is the culmination of every moment that preceded it. Edgar described it as a gathering. All the energy you have generated throughout your life converges in this single point. If your life has been characterized by inner peace, your transition reflects that peace. If you have lived in turmoil, that turmoil does not simply vanish when the heart stops beating. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only transform. The energy patterns you have established continue, carrying your consciousness forward into whatever comes next. This is the deep meaning of as above, so below. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Your inner state creates your outer experience, not just in life, but in death and beyond. The heaven or hell that religions speak of are not locations, but states of consciousness, frequencies of being that we create through the accumulation of our choices. A soul vibrating at the frequency of love naturally gravitates toward dimensions where love is the organizing principle. A soul vibrating at the frequency of fear finds itself in realms where fear predominates. Edgar emphasized that this is not fixed or permanent. Consciousness is always evolving, always capable of growth and transformation. But the transition itself, that moment between the last breath and the first encounter with pure light, reflects with absolute accuracy the vibrational state you have achieved. This is why he called peaceful death the reflection of a soul in equilibrium. It is not about perfection, but about balance, about having done the inner work to align yourself with higher frequencies while still embodied. What does this inner work look like in practice? It begins with awareness, noticing the quality of your thoughts, the nature of your emotions, the energy you bring to each interaction. Are you perpetuating patterns of judgment, comparison, and separation? Or are you cultivating presence, compassion, and connection? These are not abstract spiritual concepts. They are precise descriptions of different vibrational frequencies. When you choose forgiveness over grievance, you raise your vibration. When you choose gratitude over complaint, you elevate your frequency. When you choose presence over distraction, you attune yourself to higher realms. These choices seem small in the moment, but they accumulate. They build momentum. They create the vibrational pathway that your soul will follow when the body releases it. Edgar saw that souls in equilibrium, those who had found inner harmony, experienced the transition as a seamless flow. The last breath simply became the first moment of expanded awareness. There was no struggle, no resistance, no clinging to what was falling away. The soul recognized its own light in the light that was calling it forward, and it moved toward that recognition with the inevitability of water flowing downhill. This is the ultimate spiritual teaching. You are preparing for your death with every moment of your life. Not in some morbid, fearful way, but in the most practical sense imaginable. You are either raising your vibration or maintaining patterns that keep it low. You are either moving toward harmony or remaining in discord. And the universe, in its perfect neutrality, will reflect back to you exactly what you have created. The beautiful truth is that this understanding empowers us completely. We are not victims of fate or chance. We are creators of our own energetic reality. Every meditation that brings peace, every act of kindness that opens the heart, every moment of authentic presence. These are not just making life more pleasant. They are literally building the bridge you will cross when this life ends. Edgar's vision of peaceful death as light ascending toward light is available to everyone. It is not reserved for saints or mystics. It is the natural result of living with intention, of choosing awareness over unconsciousness, of gradually aligning yourself with the highest frequencies you can access. The work is simple, though not always easy. Raise your vibration, cultivate inner peace, practice harmony in thought, word, and deed. When your final moment comes, the question will not be what you believed or which religion you followed. The only question will be, what frequency have you become? And that frequency, that vibration you have tuned yourself to through 10,000 choices, will carry you exactly where you belong. This is not judgment. It is the perfect justice of energy seeking its own level. The last breath is not an ending. It is the moment when the light you have always been finally recognizes itself fully, freed from the density that temporarily obscured it. And in that recognition, in that instant of pure awareness, the soul that lived in peace discovers what Edgar knew all along. Death was never real. There is only consciousness, eternally transforming, forever ascending toward its own infinite nature.